Hey there. No homestead video this week. Instead, we're out on the coast of Oregon. This was our first vacation in well over a couple of years, so we made the most of it. From crabbing, camping fails, and just enjoying everything the Pacific Northwest has to offer. We're Ellie and Luke. Oh, and that's Murphy.
We're a couple of goofballs living in northern Idaho, and we try to record our life. So if you're into outdoors, hiking, off-grid living, just want to see what it's like up here, follow along. We'd love to have you with us.
We left our home in the middle of the day, sent Murphy off to the doggy hotel. Sorry guys, no Murphy on this trip. Made a couple of stops to pick up the important things before we left.
Booze is really expensive in Oregon.
And we hit the road. We started from North Idaho and started to work our way southwest, going through Spokane, eventually ending up in Kennewick, Washington. From Kennewick, we dropped straight south and headed into Oregon.
We are officially in Oregon. Do you feel any different?
Yeah, I feel like I want to maybe protest something.
We can't make jokes like that.
Oh, sorry.
From there, we went straight west, along the Columbia and towards Hood River.
How far do you think we are from Hood River?
Maybe half an hour.
That's not bad.
On it.
Chronicling another one of our failures.
No.
Can we do anything right?
So obviously this is not a campsite. We pulled into Hood River at about 9 p.m. and it was pitch black. And whilst we could have camped, we would have had to set up our kind of rednecky setup at about 9 o'clock. Hadn't had food all day, kind of hungry. So we made an executive decision.
The right decision.
The right decision. And we're in a hotel for the night.
But it is a seedy motel.
Ooh, I want a beer. So, we're gonna rest up, and then in the morning, probably grab some breakfast in Hood River and head up on a little side journey through one of the national forests tomorrow on our way to the coast. So we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. So we spent the night in Hood River last night. We are gassing up the truck right now, and today we're gonna cross over the Columbia River and drive through a little known national forest called Gifford Pinchot? Gifford Pinchot? I don't know, but it should be really fun. I've never heard of this before, and it just kind of popped up on the map, so we're gonna kind of cut through some back roads and see how it goes.
As we headed along the Columbia River and began to go north through Gifford Pinchot National Forest, we began to wonder, who was Gifford Pinchot and what was he known for? Well, as it turns out, a lot. If you've ever enjoyed a national, state, or federal forest, it's thanks to this guy. Gifford Pinchot was born August 11th, 1865. After graduating from Yale University in 1889, he began a career in forestry. In 1905, he became the first ever chief of the U.S. Forest Service. Yeah, that U.S. Forest Service. He even was close friends with President Theodore Roosevelt. Both Pinchot and Roosevelt shared the view that the federal government must act to regulate public lands. However, as the head of the Forest Service, Pinchot implemented a decentralized structure that empowered local civil servants to make decisions about conservation and forestry. We still use a similar system today in our United States Forest Service. However, at the time, this was not a popular view of how to manage the nation's forests and public lands. During his time as the head of the Forest Service, Pinchot continued to find ways to protect public land from private development during Roosevelt's years in office. Pinchot's legacy continues today. Gifford Pinchot National Forest is actually one of the oldest national forests in the United States. It was originally included as part of the Mount Rainier Forest Reserve in 1897. However, on June 15, 1949, it was renamed in honor of Gifford Pinchot. The forest's highest point is the top of Mount Adams, at 12,276 feet. It also includes the 110,000-acre Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument. The National Forest has quite a few wilderness areas, lakes, rivers, and is home to a variety of protected creatures, including the spotted owl. It's a beautiful little gem of a hidden forest, and one that has so much history, it's definitely worth visiting. After leaving Gifford Pinchot National Forest, we headed west along Washington Highway 503, which takes you by a reservoir and 2 cute little lakes. From there, we hit Woodland, Washington, and headed north. Went through Longview, and started the final leg of our journey, heading west to the coast. The first sign that we'd made it to the ocean was the town of Astoria, which you might recognize from one of the best movies of all time, The Goonies. From there was an easy, cool drive down the coast to our destination. We didn't really get any footage once we got to our destination. Sometimes it's nice to shut off the camera and just unwind with the family. So this is a great opportunity to remind you to like, subscribe, and comment. As of this video being edited, we're almost to 10,000 subscribers. Once we hit that mark, who knows? Maybe we'll do something special again. But if you guys could help us get there, we'd really appreciate it. Now back to the video.
Good morning. We are currently in a house with a lot of kids. I'm taking this quick moment to check in, and it's our first full day out at the beach, and we've got a pretty fun lineup today. I'm not gonna say it now, I'm just gonna show you.
Today, we're crabbing.
Somebody's done let us rent
Let us have a boat. So we stopped at a place called Kelly's Marina. You buy a fishing license, they hand you a boat, pots, and the buoys. And here we are. We're not good at this because what is happening?
204, okay.
What's happening is we're putting our buoys down, you get 3, and we're losing them.
We thought it'd be a good idea to spread them out. And that is a terrible idea.
You can't keep females.
Lady.
Flip it over, show me how you know it's a female.
This right here, see how big it is? That's a lady. That's a lady. This is a male. And a little, probably deeper.
And they give you a little, where is it buried? How big it is. What's the, what are you looking
It's
for?
close. 5 3/4.
Yeah.
It's deeper.
Why is there always one just like clinging for dear life? And then when you're done, you put it back. We might have to find another part. You only get the boat for so long. We have 25 minutes left, so we're gonna go grab our last pots and hope for something good.
Well, we found the rest of our pots without incident, did one last quality control check to make sure we were within the legal range, and we headed back to the docks. However, once we got back to the docks, the work was only half done. Once we brought the crab in, it was cooked for us, but we had to clean it. And considering I know absolutely nothing about how to prepare crab, thankfully Luke stepped in to save the day.
Thank you. So, we just processed everything. Now we get to eat.
Some work to do.
All in all, we caught 12 crabs. And now
We're gonna eat 12 crabs.
we're gonna eat 12 crabs.
Oh my god. Ugh. This one's got some barnacles.
And there is literally nothing better than fresh crab.
No.
This is so good.
We're never gonna eat this.
Is that good enough?
Yep.
All right, that's good enough. Okay, we're on day 3. Today we're gonna do a little hiking.
A little hiking.
We're on the Elk Flats Trail, just north of Manzanita. And we're really paranoid that someone's gonna come around the corner and make fun of us because we're talking to a camera. Okay, let's go.
Oh, perfect. Oh, isn't this just a dandy?
Oh no!
Well, looks like we're calling for an evac.
Oh no!
It'll last.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady. Doesn't blow out a flip-flop.
We survived the hike. Luke's flip-flop on the other hand.
Bit of a blowout. Thankfully, we MacGyvered it with a hair tie.
Oh my god, and we, for the record, hiked over that and came down.
Which means we have to hike back up that busted ass flippy floppy.
Oh man.
After hiking down from the Elk Flats Trail, we'd stumbled across a picturesque beach, aptly known as Smuggler's Cove. I'd always known Oregon beaches were picturesque, but apparently this one was also known for surfing?
We hiked from here. To get back to here, we have to hike up and back along the road because we are not going up this trail again. Why does this always happen to us?
Let's fart.
breaking the shoe. And we have to go back along the highway.
It's just probably gonna end up being longer and farther than if we just
And way more dangerous.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Survive, we always do.
What are the fucking odds?
We have the weirdest shit. But at least now we're documenting it. Because nobody else would ever believe this.
We went for our hike and it was beautiful. You just saw all the pictures. Before we got to the beach, we crossed paths with a family hiking up. They were super nice. They asked what the trail looked like and we told them. We get down to that beach, as you saw, and then on the way back, we were like, oh my God, we gotta walk up the road. Because we didn't want to hike back up that trail. It was like a goat trail.
Miserable with a broken flip-flop.
Bad idea all around. We see the guy and his family down at the bottom, and I kind of looked to Luke and I was like, hey, that's the guy we saw. And he said hi. And he was like, oh, how was it? And we were like, oh, it's great. Now we're trying to figure out how to get back to our car. And what did he say?
Yeah, it was just like small talk.
He's like, oh, well, we're going that way. Do you want to ride? Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we should preface it. When we went crabbing yesterday, Luke's younger brother met a guy from Spokane and was like, oh, I just met this cool guy from Spokane. So today, and I looked to Luke and I'm like, what are the odds that's the guy that your brother met yesterday? And the guy's like, where are you from? We're like, Idaho. And we were like, where are you from? And the guy's like, Spokane. And it was the guy Luke's younger brother met yesterday when we were crabbing. And he gave us a ride. Did we even get his name?
No, we didn't. I'm sure we'll run into him again.
Thank you, kind stranger from Spokane.
Exactly. You may have saved our lives.
You saved our lives. But moments like this are why we started this YouTube channel.
Exactly, because nobody ever believes our stories.
This happens to us more than you would think. And now we have it documented.
We have proof.
So thank you, kind stranger. Man from Spokane.
The man from Spokane.
The man from Spokane. We're done with our hike and now I think we're gonna head back.
Go get food.
Go get some food.
Our last full night in Oregon rewarded us with homemade crab mac and cheese, courtesy of yours truly, and the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in my entire life. There is not a single filter on this video. The day we left the Oregon coast, it was rainy and wet. In traditional nomad fashion, we decided to take the longest route home possible. We didn't really have much of a plan, but that's okay. That's kind of how we roll. We had a loose idea of the sights we wanted to see on the way home, but other than that, we figured we'd just see what the road had in store for us. But first, no trip to the Oregon coast is complete without a stop at Cannon Beach.
Camera's not really doing it justice. It's huge. It feels like we're walking up on a castle. The tide is super low right now, so we can get really close to it. Like normally, this is all underwater. We're headed home today, but the plan is to kind of mosey, maybe head up to Long Beach, Washington, and then we'll go east from there, maybe stop in Mount Rainier National Park, maybe even camp if we feel like it. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of road trip montages in the car today, but it should be really pretty.
After leaving Cannon Beach, we headed north, went back through Astoria, crossed over one of the biggest bridges I've ever seen in my life, and made our way up to Cape Disappointment State Park, which was, well, a disappointment.
Pretty sure there's people down there.
The lighthouse was cool though. From there, we headed up to Long Beach.
So we're in Long Beach, Washington right now. It's famous for having a state highway that actually runs along the beach, which means normally you can drive on it. Except us Idaho hayseeds don't know about calendars apparently because
no driving on the beach until the day after Labor Day.
2 days. away.
It was probably for the best. It was so foggy out we couldn't see anything anyways. Long Beach, Washington is a cute little town filled with shops, stores. There was even a carnival going on while we were there. We'll definitely be back. From there, we headed north again. Going along the Willapa Bay, it was a pretty uneventful drive. Although we did end up involuntarily becoming a part of one small town's Labor Day parade. From there, we headed east and wove our way through a series of fields, farms, and farming towns. It was pretty uneventful, honestly. We made one last pit stop in civilization to grab the necessities, and finally made it to the last leg of our journey, Mount Rainier National Forest. As we made our way further towards the park, we began to notice something. Lots of people were going into the park over the holiday weekend. Along the way, we saw some interesting sights. Apparently, everyone within 100 miles of Mount Rainier National Park puts on a garage sale or sells all their worldly belongings during Labor Day. This culminated in the largest outdoor flea market I've ever seen in the small town of Paradise.
So this is crazy, and I actually really want to stop because I love flea market like this, but starting to get a little concerned we're not gonna find a campsite. So just gonna move on through. We're about, according to the map, about 20 minutes away from a campsite that has 4 first come first served sites still available.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I don't want to say anything because I feel like I'm gonna jinx us, but I guess we'll find out when we get there what's available.
Thankfully, fate was on our side that night, and we were able to get one of the last camping spots in the entire park, I'm pretty sure.
Right? So we're doing this right?
Yeah.
Once we'd established our campsite for the night, we did a little bit of sightseeing.
Damn.
After all, we were in Mount Rainier National Park. Might as well go see Mount Rainier. We drove a little bit further through the park and ended up coming across a really beautiful waterfall trail.
So this is all one giant rock face. It's pretty cool.
It is pure anxiety.
Oh my god. Wow. That's terrifying. That was terrifying. Like, I'm not normally bothered by heights. That was terrifying. Said it was 115 feet down to the surface of the water.
To your sudden death.
To your death.
After our sightseeing was done, we headed back to make camp for the night. But there was a catch.
Let's go on the other side. If you can reach, scooch it up a little bit.
That's about as high as I can go.
That's fine.
So, never before attempted. We're actually gonna camp in the campsite.
Well, because there wasn't room in the where we parked.
Yes. So we're stringing a line between the trees and we're gonna throw the tarp over it like Boy Scout style. When you're not on rock. So you might be wondering why we're pitching a tent-ish thing, pitching a tent thing instead of sleeping in the back of the truck. So you might have noticed we are camping in a camp spot and in a tent instead of our pickup truck. And the reason for that was, even though we did get probably the second to last open campsite in Rainier National Park,
Literally.
turns out it is a walk-in campsite. So we parked the truck at the bottom of this hill, and it's a short walk. And we had to walk up, and so our choices were either sleep in the back of our truck in a really crowded parking lot, or take advantage of a pretty cool campsite.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, well, it's still in a tent or in a tarp, but
indeed.
just on the back of a truck.
On the back of the truck. It worked.
Made it work.
We pivoted.
After we got the second to last. The guy right behind us got the last.
This worked out pretty darn good. Now we're just gonna settle in and enjoy
peace and quiet.
So we're just reheating some of this awesome homemade crab mac and cheese. And I think we're just gonna settle in. It's been good. It's a good day.
Yeah, it's been a long day, but...
Yeah, we hit Cannon Beach. We hit Long Beach. We went through the world capital for oysters.
We went through the world capital for flea markets.
That was bizarre. We got the second to last open camp spot in the national park.
At the base of Mount Rainier. And we still can't see Mount Rainier.
But then we got to see Mount Rainier. It was a good day.
It works out.
We're gonna head home tomorrow. Oregon 2021. It was a good trip. Oh yeah, yes.
Update. Things did not go as planned.
Long story short, the camp hosts have a weird system for if you are a non-reservation person, which we are. We didn't have reservations, so we went to a walk-up site. They screwed up the available sites.
They took somebody left. They took
the wrong
tag. Put it back on the available board, which we then came and took.
And which led to a whole bunch of shuffling vehicles because it's 9 o'clock at night and the camp hosts are nowhere to be found.
And there's 3 parking spots for 5 cars. We made it work.
So we did make it work, but the mother and daughter from Wisconsin watching this, you parked your car in the wrong spot.
You know who you are.
We have since made it work, and now we're being serenaded by a bunch of drunk 18-year-olds. We're tired and we're grumpy, so.
But we got it all worked out.
We were reminded of why we don't camp in national parks.
Yeah.
They're beautiful to drive through, but drive through it and camp in the national forest that always is next to it. Okay, that's enough.
Amazingly, we survived the loud teenagers, incorrect campsite, and headed home the next morning. Not before making one last quick pit stop.
Not a bad break. We've got the mountain. We've got coffee. And we've got a bag of cheesecake. It's literally just kind of blended all into one flavor. And it's delicious. It actually is really good.
And from there, we headed home. Thank you so much for joining us on our little Oregon road trip. If you want to see more videos like this, let us know. Otherwise, we're back to our regular scheduled programming of DIY, homestead, and outdoor videos next week. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell. I promise we'll get back to uploading weekly. Until then, we'll see you next time.
And then it's like, okay.
Well, this was our view this morning as we woke up.
Is it filming?
Yes.
What animal was that?
Grizzly bear.